my mom was the one who actually found our current location. It was, before we moved in, it was the antique furniture store.
Okay.
And my mom is into that kind of thing. So she had been in that building. She's like, this place is for sale. I think you should go check it out. It'd be a really cool old Victorian house that you can turn into your business. And as soon as my husband and I walked in, we're like, this is it. Let's put an offer in, and it was accepted.
Welcome back to the Lead Lamp Podcast. This is Brett Wiley, and we're here with Taylor Eisenberger for Tailored for You in Mechanicsburg. You're right on Main Street. You have a bridal boutique.
Yes, we do.
And you have a bunch of different stuff. You do prom dresses and everything else, too.
Yes, we are a full-service bridal salon. So we carry wedding gowns. We carry mother of the bride, mother of the groom type dresses, and also prom and homecoming.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yes.
Well, let's like pin that, and let's go backwards and just talk about, how you got into the industry, your background.
Sure.
What was the path that brought you down to owning a boutique?
Okay. Well, so back in the day, I have always been interested in clothing and fashion. I have sewn clothing my whole life. When I was little, I would make my own Barbie clothes. I had sketchbooks of all my designs, which my mom has still kept. Okay. So I think I was destined to do this.
Yeah.
The name being Taylor, and I'm also a Taylor.
That's
kind of funny.
Perfect, yeah.
So, well, I'm named after my grandma, so her name was Ruth Taylor.
Gotcha.
I was the first granddaughter, so I got her name.
Hey, that's even more special then.
That's what I think.
Real quick, before we go too far into it, and I forget, Barbie clothes. My mom also sews Barbie clothes for my daughters. That is the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Right.
So some of them she does off patterns.
Yes. Yeah.
So we're probably going to share a little more than what I thought because my mom is a big time in the she's a big time seamstress.
That's neat.
And she wouldn't say she is, but she is.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
It's kind of a dying field.
It is.
Yeah. There's not a whole lot of people, especially young people, that know how to sew.
Well, and I think I did home ec class. And I remember having to learn how to sew. I made a pillow or something.
You're right.
But,
I think we all did that.
Yeah. But I don't think they do that anymore either. So.
I think it's now you have to choose to take a home ec class.
Okay.
I don't think it's really a requirement.
No, I had
anymore.
to. I had to cook.
Yes.
And I had to learn how to sew.
So did we. We did that in middle school. And then in high school, I chose to continue the sewing path.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, we got off on the side. We'll do that a couple more times. But the Barbie clothes is cool, though, because I know how intricate that is. And just to be able to do that, takes some
It's very tedious because they're so tiny. It's not like a full-size human being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're very stiff.
Very stiff. They don't, that's right.
Anyways, all right. So you started out, just sketching and then you started making Barbie clothes and you were sewing at a young age.
Yeah, young age. Just kind of almost self-taught. I mean, my mom and dad do know how to sew, but they don't really sew clothing. And actually my grandfather knew how to sew. So I think it's the creative gene is in our family.
Right.
We're a lot of artists and artisans. So I've always loved clothing, always loved fashion. I knew from a very young age I was going to be a fashion designer. That's what I thought. I will go to college. I'm going to be a famous fashion designer. And there we go. So
everyone has the perfect plan. Yeah.
That was my perfect plan. I did actually go to college for fashion design, funny thing. But I knew I didn't want to end up in a big city. I didn't want to live in New York or, out west. I am a hometown girl, born and raised in Mechanicsburg. Went to Mechanicsburg High School. Went to college in Philadelphia College of Textiles and Science. And my degree is in fashion design. And our senior year, we had to create a collection each semester, and I focused on formal wear and bridal gowns, and that is really where my love of bridal started.
Gotcha.
Okay, I think I could be good at this. I enjoy this. When I was in college, I had an internship with a bridal gown designer, and I really enjoyed my time there, and they actually offered me a job after I graduated. So I worked with her for maybe about 2 years, and then got married and started a family shortly after. And I stayed home for a little while with our daughter and kind of did sewing and alterations on the side at her house. And then I did work at another bridal shop over the years doing their sewing and alterations. So I've, like I said, been sewing my entire life. That is my skill and my passion. And then, took a little time off again. And then when I was pregnant with our second, decided to open a bridal shop. Why
Perfect
not?
Timing.
Being 8 months pregnant, why not? So here we are almost 19 years later. Next year's the big year 20. So we can do something fun for that.
And have you always been in Mechanicsburg?
We have always been in Mechanicsburg, but our first location was actually on Simpson Street in Mechanicsburg, right downtown. And we were there maybe, I don't know, like a year and a half.
Were you down near the old school, Simpson Street School, or
no,
the other side?
Do you know where like the CVS is?
Yeah.
So we shared their parking lots. We were like in a long brick building.
Gotcha.
Like just one story.
Near Arch Street, that side.
Kind of.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yes. So we did all the renovations there, which my husband does all of that. He's very handy.
Okay.
It was a cool building, but we just quickly outgrew it. And we're looking for other spaces. And my mom was the one who actually found our current location. It was, before we moved in, it was the antique furniture store.
Okay.
And my mom is into that kind of thing. So she had been in that building. She's like, this place is for sale. I think you should go check it out. It'd be a really cool old Victorian house that you can turn into your business. And as soon as my husband and I walked in, we're like, this is it. Let's put an offer in, and it was accepted.
All in, yeah.
Here we are.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
And you own that one?
We do.
That's your
own
building.
It.
Okay.
And then in 2017, we actually built an addition on and doubled our space there. So we went from like about 1,500 square feet to about 3,300. Okay. And we totally gutted, remodeled everything, new parking lot, new windows, doors, everything. And
nice.
It's fantastic. No more moving though. That's it.
You're done.
We're done.
Well, and you've already, I was gonna say, you've already invested plenty in that. So you're in that building now.
I would never do it again, but I'm glad we did it.
I think that's what happens. Now we built a house just this past year, and we're glad we did, but I'll never do it again.
Right.
Like,
I think everybody says that.
So whether you buy a fixer-upper and you gut it and redo it, or you build anything,
I
think once you've been through that commercially or personally, like I'm done.
It was just a lot of stress.
Yeah.
It's
too many moving parts for me.
Too many moving parts that I'm not in control of.
Right. You're like, I just wanted to have a bridal boutique. I didn't want to have to be a general contractor as well. Yeah.
Exactly.
But it sounds like your husband was handy too. So
he
probably chipped in.
Yeah. Couldn't have done it without him.
So what was you have a lot of, you were talking about in the beginning, you do, not just gowns for brides, but you're doing prom, you're doing mother of the bride dresses, mother of the groom dresses. Yes. Did you initially start out with such a wide
We actually
variety?
did.
Okay.
Yeah. From when we very first started, we carried wedding gowns. We had bridesmaids, which we actually just gave up selling at the end of the year.
Gotcha.
We've always had wedding gowns, bridesmaids, mother's dresses, and prom since the get-go. And we just have expanded it over the years.
And prom's a big one too, because
prom is a big one because there's so many schools in our area. You don't realize.
Well, and where you are is like kind of, even though it's Mechanicsburg School District, you're kind of split on CV Mechanicsburg.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like we're very centrally located. And yes, we do get a lot of girls from Mechanicsburg and CV, but girls travel too. We've gotten a lot of girls from Gettysburg and Chambersburg and York and even from Maryland.
Yeah. I mean, if they see something they like, they're going to go.
Right.
So,
now
the interesting thing though is that's very seasonal, but do you think, now this is more of a business thing, the prom stuff probably starts kicking up. Is it right now? Is it coming?
Right now. Right now it's pretty busy. The girls slowly start trickling in like after the holidays, like in January, which is very early because most of the proms aren't until April or May.
Yeah.
So March and April are big months for prom. Yeah.
So like in the next 4 weeks, you'll start seeing that spike.
Yeah.
Now, is the wedding industry as like peaks and valleys as well? Or is that?
It is, but honestly, people get married year round. Whether it's here in central Pennsylvania or a destination wedding.
Or they're planning for so long. Like ours was 18 months. Yeah.
Girls usually start a year to 2 years ahead. And, shopping for a wedding gown is kind of fun. So it's usually one of the first things they like to check off their list.
Probably not for everyone.
Not for everyone. No, not for everyone.
Some people are like, oh, the price of that.
Right.
I don't even want to think about that. Yeah, I think when we started or before we started, I said, I have 2 daughters. And I'm like, oh,
yes.
Man. This morning I was looking at your site and checking out your business and I'm like, man, I'm dreading. I'm excited.
Yes.
But at the same time, I'm like, oh,
Well, you'll start with
I should have been
homecoming
saving 20 years
first,
ago.
and then you'll do prom, and then you'll save up for the wedding gown.
I know. I should have started my wedding fund 20 years ago though, with two girls, but it's okay. So yeah, you have a couple things you offer, like I said, that are very cyclical, and there's a lot of shoulder in between them, shoulder seasons, but that's kind of filled in because you said like the wedding industry is a little bit more stable.
It is. Yeah. The wedding industry is pretty year round, but then in our slow time, there's always something to do at the bridal shop.
Always. You got shows you're going to.
Right.
Do you also, I don't know, so I'm asking as like uneducated on this. Do you have people that come in for formal dresses like other times a year?
We do. Yeah. We have prom and formal gowns. They're out year round.
Someone has a special occasion.
Right. Yeah. Galas or fundraisers, military balls. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Not as common, but I'm
not
sure
as common as prom.
Through the month, you get a handful of people that are looking for things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Huh. And now you have, I'm sure, lines or designers that you work with that you have inventory of there.
Yes.
This is where I get a little bit more uneducated on this, so you have to let me know. But you're able to, with your background, do a lot of the alterations and stuff in your shop?
Yes.
Or how does that, because I know you're skilled in that. So do you do that there or?
I do. So yes, we do work with certain designers and carry their dresses in our store. Mm-hmm. And then some of our designers also do custom changes. So if you wanted the top of one dress and the skirt of another, a lot of times they can do that.
Okay.
So then I come in and I like perfect the fit, shorten the straps or hem it, do a bustle for the train.
Yeah.
So I am the only one in the store who does the sewing and alterations.
Gotcha.
I used to have another seamstress with us for maybe about 7 or 8 years, but then when she retired, I decided I'm not going to hire anybody else. I'm just going to try to do it all myself. Mm-hmm. But I've had to cut back to only doing the wedding gowns. So for the moms or the prom, we refer those alterations out to another seamstress.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're probably you're spending all your time.
I would be living there. Yeah. Sleeping there.
Yeah. Now, what is let's get back into kind of like why you started it. So obviously there's a passion for fashion.
Yes.
And I didn't try to make that rhyme, but there is a good rhyme in there. You had the passion for that. That was kind of like your fire and your engine to get that going. But like, obviously the longer you have a business, there's got to be something else that keeps you going in that. So you have this drive and love for, fashion, but is there also like that reward of helping people, or you see when that's like the right thing for somebody, it fits and you're like, yes, I helped them find that. And look how they lit up when they try this on or something. So explain how that works too, because that probably plays into a lot of your excitement.
Honestly, it is a very, very rewarding job. Mm-hmm. And I have such great stylists too. And a lot of times when the bride finds the one, there could be some happy tears and we're crying alongside with them because it is a very personal journey. You know, when they feel good, we feel good. Like, okay, we did our job. We helped them achieve the look and feel that they wanted for their special day. Yeah,
I've not felt that because I just rented a tux, but
it's different for guys.
Yes,
I'm sure.
Yeah. I didn't cry when I tested my tux out, but I also didn't really pick mine. That was kind of, you're wearing this. No.
Yes.
But I didn't complain. So that's the one thing that comes to mind when I think about, shopping for even for a homecoming dress or whatever, or prom dresses is some of these things can get pretty expensive. So I'm sure you run into situations where people are all over the range of what they want to spend. How do you handle, someone who maybe be more on a budget or someone who goes all out? So how do you handle having inventory for people from all sides of the price spectrum?
That's a good question. And we try to be pretty upfront with our pricing and have it on our website. Or if people call and ask, that is one of the number one questions, like what is the price range of your dresses? Yeah,
because it's probably an industry where there's a lot of places that don't show it till you're there and you're looking at tags and you're...
Well, I don't know if you've ever seen the show Say Yes to the Dress. Well,
not an avid watcher.
It's a big store in New York City, and their gowns can be $30,000-$40,000. So obviously, we're not that.
But people are price conditioned from what they see on TV,
and maybe that's good. I don't know. And they're like, "Oh, my budget's such and such." Well, we're way below that here at Tailored for You.
Yeah.
So our wedding gowns start around $1,200, and go up to about $2,300. Okay, so that's kind of our range.
And then if there's a cost, if there's alterations.
Yeah, alterations always an extra charge, but we kind of base that on what needs done to the dress. So it's not like
there's not a charge for that. Yeah.
Right. Right. Exactly. Our prom gowns, they kind of start around, I'm going to say maybe 250, 275 and go up to almost 600.
Okay.
So again, there's a range there for people.
Okay.
But a lot of times, if you've never been through this before, you have no idea how much dresses cost.
I wouldn't. Like, I would come in completely clueless.
Right.
So.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
Dads are definitely dads.
I would just have to take the chair and just sit. Do you have the dad chair where they're like?
We do have some chairs for dads, and they just like, here's my card.
Yeah. That would be me because I would be out of my element.
Yeah.
I would want to be involved because, like I said, you only get to do that once. I probably won't be involved because that'll probably be a mom thing, but I'll go support him if I have to.
Exactly.
So that is cool though, where you do have a range. You're very clear about it.
Yes.
But that is something I've seen. So before I did this, I was in the home improvement industry, and like the one thing that you see a lot of, and I'm interested to see if you see this with those TV shows, not just Say Yes to the Dress, but there's 100 other wedding shows. With the home improvement industry, people are so conditioned from like this same day remodel stuff that they see that they're like, what do you mean it's going to take 2 or 3 weeks to do my bathroom?
Right.
Well, this isn't chipping, whatever.
Yes.
I don't want to say the name of the show, get in trouble. Like, this isn't those shows where they have a huge crew that comes in and does it in 24 hours.
Right.
Or it's not, being subsidized by other sponsors. So your bathroom's not going to cost 10 grand. It's going to cost this.
Yeah.
Do you see that where people are conditioned that they come in thinking one thing and you're like, whoa. Like,
I think a lot of times
this is how it works.
Obviously, a lot of these girls that come to see us have never been married before. They haven't been through the process, so they maybe don't know. But our dresses take 4 to 6 months to order, which a lot of girls are like, why does it take so long?
Can't leave with it today.
Right. Can I take it today or 2 weeks later? So our designers don't keep a huge warehouse of gowns, like in every size, every color. Here's your dress. It just, the whole process for them to cut it, to sew it together, to ship it.
So what you have is like a sample inventory.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. So everything all of our wedding gowns are samples that the girls would try on. And then when they find one they like, then we take their measurements and order them a brand new dress.
Gotcha.
Now, sometimes girls don't have time to order, so we can sell them off the rack. And usually about once a year, we do a sample sale as well, where we do sell off some of our inventory.
So they don't always want their samples back. Like, when they're done with that style, you can buy.
No, we have to buy them, actually.
Oh, so you guys own the samples?
We own the samples.
Gotcha.
So technically, we could do what we want with them.
Gotcha.
But the designer comes out with new styles every year. And then sometimes the older styles or less popular styles will get discontinued.
Right.
So then we want to sell
It's not as trendy anymore or whatever. But someone still might want that dress. It could be a perfect dress.
Especially if it's at a bargain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a bargain guy. So yeah. No, so that's interesting. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like you can go to a clothing store and just walk out with your dress most of the time.
Right.
Is that the same with like homecoming and prom, or
homecoming and prom, or you're taking it with you today?
Yeah.
So those aren't special order dresses.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have an odd question, but your sample dresses for like, let's talk about wedding gowns. So a wedding gown, if I'm coming in and, I don't know what size I would be in a woman's size, but obviously you have various sizes of women. How do you have a couple sizes of samples within the same style usually? Or do you have to really like in the store, is that fitting process really like trying to figure out how that fits that person?
That's a good question. So our samples range from a size 6 up to a size 22.
Okay.
But we don't have multiple styles in every size. So
Gotcha.
like, this dress is this size, this dress is this size. So if we don't have it in your size, maybe we have another one that's similar.
And you can kind of...
we'll try on.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're like, well, we can get that style, but I have this one that's close to it in this size.
Right.
Because like to me, I wouldn't... Like, I don't understand how that works. So, I buy the same size pair of pants no matter what size I have. But, but dresses to me, that's like...
And wedding gowns
Braille.
They run small. So normally if you're, let's just say a size 10, you're probably a size 12 or 14 in a wedding gown.
Gotcha.
Which doesn't always make you feel the best that you're wearing a larger size, but honestly, nobody's going to know but us.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It's just a number.
Don't get stuck on that.
Right.
Yeah. So that's, I mean, I'm learning a lot about dresses today, and gowns. So I think it's very unique because a lot of the other businesses we have been more traditional, like, I don't know, this is a very different, it's very out of my element kind of industry. But it's cool that like you said, you get the chance to be there when they find the thing that they're going to wear, mainly for wedding. We're talking about weddings.
Right.
Like when they get married, probably for, hopefully it lasts a long time and you're leaving an impression on that person's whole day. Because in all the pictures, everything that they're involved in that day, they're going to be wearing that gown.
Yeah.
And that makes a huge impact on decades from now.
It's a very special feeling. And then we get a lot of referrals and word of mouth. Oh, my sister got her dress from you. I bought my prom dress from you. And I knew I wanted to come back for my wedding gown. It's really cool.
Well, and now at this point, like you've been in business for quite a while. You're going to start getting people that like, you're coming up on 20 years, right? So, eventually you're going to get like, I'm not trying to age anyone here, but like, hey, my mom also got their dress here and now their daughters are going to come in and it might feel a little weird at first, but that's like got to be an awesome feeling. Like
it is.
Holy cow. Like I fitted your parents. Right. And now you're here for
and they remember us and liked us and want to go through that experience again.
But the fact that you're getting referrals like that is huge. And I'm sure is that an industry that's big on customer referrals? Like,
oh, absolutely. That is honestly our number one form of advertising.
Oh, my best friend got their dress here and I was a bridesmaid in their wedding.
Yes,
and
exactly.
Okay. Yeah. I'm sure it's like, it's hard to advertise for that too. Have you tried like targeted advertising for it?
We don't do too much advertising. I feel like we don't need to.
And
there's not a whole lot of bridal shops around. So when a girl gets engaged and, is looking for shops, honestly, she'll find us. Yeah. Right.
If you show up on Google, they're going to find you.
Yeah.
And then I guess your big thing in your industry is probably what's going on. There's a lot. It seems like this time of year and then in the fall, there's a lot of the bridal shows.
Yeah.
So you're probably, that's one of your...
We don't do too many bridal shows. We used to do a lot back in the day where we did the runway show. We would get models that honestly, a lot of them were our past brides. So they would model for us for the day. We do hair, makeup, flowers, music, and all that, and the runway show. But
they already have their dress.
Oh, yeah. They're not wearing their actual dress. They're just wearing our sample.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So we used to do that several times a year, but it is so much work.
Is it? So that's also like news to me. Like I would just think that if you're in that industry, you try to go as many shows as possible, but is the payoff just not?
It's not.
It's not a big trade-off.
Yeah. For the time, effort, and money involved, it's honestly easier just to get those referrals.
And maybe when you're cutting your teeth and you're new.
Right.
And it's like.
Yes.
We got to get our name out there. Right. That's when you're doing all the shows. But when you're established.
I agree. We're seasoned now. I feel like a lot of people already know about us.
Yeah. I mean, you probably still go to a couple. But,
right. Of course.
It's like the local ones and the smaller ones. Okay.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, that's a completely different, like it's so wild to me. It's a completely different industry. So let's like talk about the area. So you've been in business in Mechanicsburg.
Yes.
Completely Mechanicsburg. And you said earlier you're a Mechanicsburg grad, which is like big kudos to you because everyone in this area seems like they're from CV. And I'm a Mechanicsburg grad too, so like I like hearing about Mechanicsburg
grad. Met my husband in high school.
There you go.
Now we do live in CV school district now, so our kids.
It's hard to not to now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just growing so fast. Yeah. But let's talk about that. So you've been in business now for 2 decades.
Yes.
How have you seen the area change? Obviously, you probably get a different look at it too, because you're seeing a lot of new couples coming into the area. There is a big population boom happening in Mechanicsburg. Like, have you noticed that with just business in general?
I feel like business in general has definitely picked up year after year because maybe it is because more people are moving to Cumberland County. It's like one of the fastest growing counties in the world, or not in the world, but in the Pennsylvania.
It is. I think it's the second fastest in Pennsylvania.
I think it is. Yeah. So lots of newcomers coming in, and a lot of people that have lived in the area their whole life want to shop local. Like they look up Mechanicsburg vendors for their wedding. Oh, tailored for you, Mechanicsburg. Like I want to go there.
And it's crazy now because Mechanicsburg, like when we were coming out of high school, Mechanicsburg is not, it's not the same. Like I grew up over near Grantham.
Okay.
And like that whole area with like the way Messiah College is exploding and then that whole like apartment thing they built behind where Bumblebee Hollow golf course used to be, like that's all, none of that looks the same anymore. So like our area is so crazy, growing so fast. Now you've been here for a while with your shop, but you don't have to go out of Mechanicsburg or Cumberland County to find a lot of these specialty type shops anymore.
You don't need to go to a big city.
You don't have to go down to Philly or King of Prussia or whatever to find a gown anymore.
No, stay small, stay local.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was interesting. I was asking about the growth, if you'd seen that, just because I know it is a fast growing county. So I didn't know if, like, with the population increase, obviously there's more people getting married. There's more people having babies, and then there's more people getting married again. Like, I didn't know if that translated into you seeing more weddings, or.
I feel like each year we have seen more weddings. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Now with that, you have seasonality with weddings, but what is the biggest trend change in the wedding industry now? Like, what do you see? You see gowns, I'm sure, in the last 20 years change dramatically.
The styles have definitely changed.
What has it gone from when you first started till now? Like, what would you see now? And you'd be like, we would never do that now.
Right.
Or B, like, what do you see is kind of happening with the styles of not just wedding gowns, but homecoming dresses, anything like that?
Well, definitely in wedding gowns, you know what they say, everything comes back around again. We are seeing that.
Okay.
Not always a good thing, though.
True. Yeah.
Right.
There's some styles that should have stayed away.
Some 80s and 90s styles are slowly creeping back in.
Not like the really poofy
Not
top.
quite that, but ones that are kind of go into a V at the bottom. It's called a basque waist, and then a big full puffy skirt.
Okay.
Not a look for everybody. Don't know if we're really going to carry that style yet, but we'll see.
It might be too bleeding edge to have a good inventory of it.
We try not to be too trendy. We want dresses that girls will look back on and be like, yeah, I chose the right dress. You can't tell it's from 2005 or 2010. It's not dated.
Yeah.
Or the 80s and 90s were very, very memorable with styles of clothing.
Yeah. I looked at my parents. If you look at my parents' wedding photos, definitely dates the dress dates itself. Yes. Yeah. And I'm not even a big dress guy. Yeah.
We've seen lately a lot of the trend going towards more simple and classy, not a whole lot of beading or not a whole lot of lace, just really streamlined and simple and elegant.
Very conservative look.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think Central Pennsylvania generally is more conservative. They're not super trendy or New York.
And we're talking styles, not politics here. Yeah.
Yeah. Styles of wedding gowns. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's like that. Central PA is very much like that with a lot of things.
Yes.
Just not just with fashion, but our foods, everything like that. Right. It doesn't change very fast.
Yeah. Yes. I feel like we're a little slower to the trends than some of the bigger cities.
We're not how do you explain it? We're not like a tertiary market where we're very, very behind.
Right.
But we're also not so bleeding edge that it's fashions come and go really fast or just styles come and go really fast. We're kind of in the middle where
I agree.
We adopt them fast enough to fit in, but we're not behind the times.
I totally agree. Yeah.
So, all right. Well, that's interesting. So the 80s are kind of, or early 90s are kind of making a reappearance.
Kind of like the 90s, even early 2000s.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's some styles that I wouldn't want to see resurrected.
Yeah.
From when we were younger.
Yeah.
But I even noticed that with what was it? At the Super Bowl halftime show, they had the bell bottom. The Kendrick Lamar had the bell bottom pants, and I'm like,
jeans were the rage. Honestly,
hope they don't
being
come
in
back.
Fashion, that was the first thing I noticed about the halftime show.
The pants
was his pants.
Yeah,
he's wearing some flared pants, and I looked them up. They were $1,300. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, they weren't. Yeah,
but he looked good. He was very stylish.
Yeah, I just hope flared pants don't come back.
I feel like they're more in for women than men right now, but that could change.
Well, I do remember when guys had flared, they're not bell bottoms.
Yeah.
But they were a flare on the jeans, even for men's pants.
Right.
And it's just,
you're not there.
We'll see. A little more conservative with my jeans, I think. But okay. Well, I think so. This is kind of coming into your prom season and this is coming into your wedding season as well. So is there anything that you want to kind of give as far as advice for anyone that's starting to shop around? So they may have gotten engaged over the holidays. It's time to shop for some wedding dresses, or you're coming into prom season. If I'm a parent, I'm looking for prom. What are some tips you would give to someone that's beginning to shop right now? Let's start with the prom season that's coming up.
Prom, I would say start shopping now.
Mm-hmm.
The longer you wait, the inventory starts to dwindle down.
Less available.
Of what's available and the size you want or the color you want. Some girls are very specific with, I want a yellow dress this year. I want a blue dress. So if you are that specific with the look you're going for, you definitely need to shop early.
Mm-hmm.
while we may not have it at our store, we try to refer you maybe to somewhere else.
Can find it.
That might have it.
Yeah. Real quick, do you work well with some of the other?
We're all very friendly.
How does that,
we're competitors, but like we don't hate each other or anything.
Okay.
No, it's not like that.
Some industries can be pretty competitive, but
I feel like the wedding industry is a little bit different.
Okay.
Yeah.
You all know each other.
We all know each other, especially doing bridal shows and things. And we prefer, hairstylists. We refer florists, photographers. I mean, we're friends with a lot of people.
And they all refer to you. So it's best to just be all cordial with each other.
Be cordial, be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And there's plenty, it's like, our parent company's dental office.
Right.
So it's like, there's plenty of people with teeth. There's plenty of people that are always going to get married.
Yes.
Like,
there's plenty of business to go around.
Right.
Yeah. Just be kind.
Okay.
Yeah.
So prom season, you should have started probably already, but if you're not,
yes,
now's
it's
the time to come in.
You still have a great selection.
And then, wedding season is a little bit more year round, it sounds.
It is.
But, someone who might have just been engaged over holidays or has a wedding maybe within the next year or so.
Yeah.
What are some tips for someone who's just starting out shopping for a gown that you would give to them? So not just coming into your shop, but just general, hey, I don't really know where to start looking for a gown.
Yeah. So a lot of times they'll start on the internet, like on our website, which leads to our designers' websites to get ideas, or they go to Pinterest and make a board of, here's some inspirational photos.
Hey, check out all
I'm looking for. And a lot of times they will come in and show us, their board. And then.
Is that helpful?
I think it is helpful, but a lot of times they'll come in with that idea, but then they'll leave with something else.
Completely different.
Right.
Yeah.
We have a lot of girls right now that are asking for sleeves. And then they try it on and they're like, you know what? I don't think I want sleeves. So it happens all the time.
Yeah.
So we're there to kind of get them out of their box a little bit by, branching out and trying on some different styles.
Well, and you can probably see, what fits different body styles and different body types. And you can you're probably very good, and your team even, at hey, that's pretty, but we think you'll like this.
Right.
And then, you see enough people come through where you're like, I don't know that person specifically, but I know that this works well.
Yes.
And you're probably more often than not a lot of times you see it where they're like, that's better.
Yeah. A lot of times we're their biggest cheerleader. So we're there to help them look and feel their best. And maybe they didn't ask for this style or this fabric or this design. But when we bring it in and they're like, you know what? I should have listened to you. You were right. We're like, well, we've been doing this a long time. We work with a lot of people.
We've seen a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Different personalities, different body shapes, different budgets.
That's the next thing. So they have their styles, they have their board or their ideas that they want. Setting a budget is important because you can't,
Yeah, we don't want to go over what
you don't want them to go broke on buying a dress. They have other things they have to pay for. But so they set a budget, and then what's the next, how do they have a budget, they have a style in mind. What's the next thing when they're shopping that they should be starting to do?
So they'll come in, try some things on, and if they do find one, awesome. A lot of times the girls have to sleep on it or think on it because they're between 2 or 3 different styles. And a lot of times they will take pictures or videos of them in our dresses so they can go home and kind of compare, I like this one, but I like things about this one. So we see a lot of girls who will make a second appointment, come in, and then really just try on those favorites, and then they can make a decision from there.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very, very, it's probably a lot pickier than you made that sound too. There's a lot of indecisiveness.
There is. Yeah. There is a lot of indecisiveness, but I think you've never been through this before. So it is a big decision.
And you want it to be perfect.
You want it to be perfect.
That's I'm obviously not, I'm not a woman. I've never been through that, but I know when my wife was going through that, when we were getting married, that's a big decision.
Yeah.
Is how you look that day. Right. So, and how you feel, not just how you look, but how do you feel?
How do you feel? Yeah. And we do ask that all the time. How do you feel in it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're very no pressure. We don't want to talk you into anything. You can come to the decision on your own.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, so you have your website.
Yes.
We're going to put a link to your website in the show notes. Anyone that's watching, Main Street Mechanicsburg, you've been there how long have you been at that location? I don't think I asked.
So we started off at the other location there for about a year and a half. Right. And so we started in business in 2006.
Okay.
So then 2008, we moved to our current location and then did the renovation.
So about 15, 17 years you've been at the current location.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So Main Street Mechanicsburg.
Yes.
And it's hard to miss. And what are you near on Main Street?
So we're right beside Auto Bodies by Lucas.
Yeah.
And then the other side is the Greek restaurant, Hellenic Cuisina.
Yep.
We're like right in the middle. You can park out front, but we have our own parking lot around the back, down the alley.
Gotcha. Perfect. All right. Well, we'll put your socials on our show notes. We'll put the website there. We'll put all your contact info. And I appreciate you coming on
Thanks
and
so much
sharing
for
a little
having
bit
me. It was a
about
great time.
the wedding industry or just the gowns.
Yeah. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep.